So, we're over halfway to Halloween, so it's time to follow up the worst horror movies of 2024 with this episode. This episode's all about the best horror movies of 2024.
Well, hello, Mr. Fancy Pants. I got news for you, pal. You ain't leading but two things right now, Jack and shit. And Jack left town.
Welcome to my channel. Thank you for clicking on my video.
Nothing's ever as it seems. My time is coming, it's too late now to rewind. So let it go and open up your mind. Long live the terror in unholy. Sinners full of red, left behind in the darkness that eats me alone. Live the terror in
Hello world! I'm Chris Maitini, aka Mr. FLIXTER. Mr. FLIXTER.
These aren't just the movies that are technically made well. These are the movies that either exceeded my expectations,
This place gives me the creeps,
or just downright surprised me. I didn't see them coming, and they blew me away.
What do you think, Ted?
Let's get to the list, shall we?
People always ask for something new. It's inevitable.
Hello, Wild! It's now a film critic extraordinaire. So, I'm not just here to give the spoiler warning. I'm here to challenge these horror villains to a fight. You think you're so tough? Let me at 'em. Let me at 'em. I'm one tough MF. That's right. I'm mighty feline. Feel my wrath. Meow. At number 5, I have Heretic.
Did you go on believing something that you know is not true just to give you comfort because you were afraid of what it might mean if it was all a lie?
Here's the synopsis according to Letterboxd. Two young missionaries are forced to prove their faith when they knock on the wrong door and are greeted by the diabolical Mr. Reed, becoming ensnared in the deadly game of cat and mouse. This flick was written and directed by Scott Beck and Brian Woods. I have a particular fondness for movies that are predominantly set in a single location. The set designs have an eerie aesthetic, combining decorative elements that feel oddly out of place, as if stepping into a void stuck in the past outside of time. The mesmerizing camera work features rotational movements that lend a surreal quality to the film. Wide-angle lenses create a claustrophobic atmosphere too. The lighting further enhances the mood because minimal light sources are used to create these dramatic shadows without drifting into total darkness. The cinematography is nothing short of distinguished. Everything is meticulously conceived. Clearly.
Story of a savior who was born to a virgin, who could perform miracles, and was supernaturally resurrected.
Now, this movie is all about religion and its theologies and ideologies.
This little gallery depicts 12 gods who were born on December the 25th, all of whom predate the existence of Jesus.
So I can see how it could be considered controversial.
I am sorry, but it is impossible to ignore the influence of one narrative upon another.
However, I would argue that both sides articulate cogent arguments with coherent intellectuality.
Or to ignore the fact that all these stories iterate into Star Wars, Episode 1, The Phantom Menace.
Avoiding becoming dogmatic or the common cliche that portraying one side or another as unintelligent.
With great power comes great responsibility.
Spider-Man.
Voltaire.
The only way out is through.
Robert Frost.
Swamp Thing.
A simple premise can go a long way with the writing, and this proves it. The gore in this one isn't abundant, but it does have some violent acts relating to fingers, which is always unsettling to me. Therefore, the practical effects were so effective, it made me cringe. Overall, it's invigorating to witness an original story that doesn't rely on pre-existing intellectual property. A24 is so hit and miss with me too. So I'm glad they knocked this one out of the park. This is the win. Stylized direction, sagacious writing, and remarkable acting make this film stand out. Again, Hugh Grant gives an award-worthy performance here. But sometimes horror gets left out of the awards categories, so good on you, Demi Moore. Go you! In an era where too many films rely heavily on spectacle at the expense of substance, this flick balances both better than most others do. Ironically, kind of like the substance does. Instead, it challenges viewers to question both belief and skepticism, without being sacrilegious in nature whatsoever. This thoughtful discourse allows viewers to engage deeply with contrasting viewpoints. It truly succeeds in enticing deductive reasoning for existential questions to urge viewers to ponder their own perspective, long after the credits roll. This is another one of those movies that just sticks with you way after it's over. I love that. So if you like movies like Frailty, Red State, Don't Breathe, Get Out, or Midsommar, I highly recommend this cerebral, competently crafted film. Because the message is don't be afraid to question everything. So, my official grade for Heretic is a extra large popcorn.
Because you want me to believe the one true religion is control.
Well. Hello, world. This is Ursula. What did the Romans say after they caught the heretic? Nailed it. Ho ho ho. And number 4, I have The Substance.
Have you ever dreamt of a better version of yourself?
Here's the synopsis according to Letterboxd. A fading celebrity decides to use a black market drug. A self-replacing substance that temporarily creates a younger, better version of herself. It was written and directed by Coralie Fargate. Sorry if I butchered that. This flick just oozes with style. And, well, for lack of a better word, substance. This movie has so much energy. Everything from the lighting to the colors to the soundtrack. You're just in the moment and you're invested with everything that's going on. It's as pretty as this film is to look at. It's also got great social commentary on body issues, like self-hatred, and also body images projected in the media. That highly stylized image of what a body should look like. This movie is all about image. One of the best scenes in the movie is when Demi Moore is looking at herself in the mirror and she's getting ready for a date. It's just so heartbreaking watching her get ready for this big event. And she keeps looking at this big giant billboard of her younger self out there through the window. She keeps going back and forth to the bathroom. And it's like, no, sweetie, don't be late for this date. Oh, talk about emotional and great acting on her part. This is totally an award-worthy role for Demi Moore. And I'm really glad she got the Golden Globe. This has to be one of the most suspenseful, outrageous, and original horror movies of 2024. The highly stylized directing, thought-provoking script, and over-the-top gore make this flick memorable. It's one of those kinds of movies that even though I saw this in the summer, it stuck with me the rest of the year. And every time I thought about this movie, the more I like it. And the more I watch this movie, the more I notice about it that I didn't notice before. I love movies like that. It's the kind of movie that stays with you long after you watch it. Not only does it boldly make social commentary, it's shocking with its grotesque visuals. I could not believe how gory this movie is. There's so much great practical effects for the body horror in this movie. I made the mistake of trying to eat the first time I watched this, because I missed this in theaters. I saw this on VOD. So, I highly recommend that you don't eat while watching The Substance. Because let me tell you, it is gross. And again, it's the kind of visual imagery, the gore, just sticks with you so long after you watch this movie. Especially toward the end. I don't want to say too much. Because this is the kind of movie the less you know about, the better. So yeah, this movie is not for the squeamish. It's so gory. You aren't going to believe how bonkers the conclusion is. So, my official grade for The Substance is large popcorn.
That's what we want tonight! Pretty girls should always smile!
I think you should wait and sub if our stance on the film is when you agree with. That's wait. Sub for our stance. Long legs.
It seems I wore my long legs today. What happens if
Here's the description according to Letterboxd. FBI agent Lee Harker is a gifted new recruit assigned to the unsolved case of an elusive serial killer. As the case takes complex turns, unearthing evidence of the occult, Harker discovers a personal connection to the merciless killer and must race against time to stop him before he claims the lives of another innocent family. So, it was written and directed by Osgood Perkins, who is actually the son of Anthony Perkins. No, Norman Bates. Who knew? He masterfully creates an atmosphere of looming uneasiness because of how he uses various filmmaking techniques. For example, there's empty space in most of the frames that made me constantly examining the background. I like how he deliberately uses slow tracking shots or slowly zooms in and out to make you fully aware of your surroundings. On the contrary, he uses extreme close-ups, keeping the frame tight to make the audience feel like they're part of the conversations that are going on. It creates this permeating paranoia from start to finish. The muted color tones provide a surreal feel as well. While it's not a splatterfest, it does have great practical makeup effects for the gore. The limited scenes that do have the gore make it all the more impactful because of this. And most of the gore is totally unexpected. Like, it comes out of nowhere. That's what makes it so shocking. Except for the end. But we'll get to that. And by the way, from a writing standpoint, I genuinely had no idea where the plot was going. And I like how it mixed being grounded and being supernatural. It never feels like it goes too far and jumps the shark or there's big leaps in logic or anything like that. Great balance. It's incredibly slow-paced, but I was never bored. The crime investigation is intricately put together, with clues so the audience learns things as the main characters do. But it's not like you can't figure things out too quickly. And it's not like the characters are too dumb to figure things out or anything like that. No. These characters are smart. Until the end, but we'll get to that. The characters are written as compelling, flawed people. The personal and professional relationships work, because it makes the encounters feel more natural that way. The conclusion caught me off guard, yet assuaded my desire for more answers. So it's fulfilling to a point. But again, I'll get to that. Nicolas Cage is almost unrecognizable under all the special effects makeup and as Longlegs.
When the order's from the man downstairs, the Camera family farmhouse will be so bright and white, you can't miss it!
I didn't see any trailers or anything before this came out. All I knew going into it was Nicolas Cage plays a serial killer. Sold. And he delivers. Sure, sometimes he goes a little too over the top in some scenes. But he's still menacing it, and does he ever give a terrifying performance? He is scary. This has to be one of his cagiest performances, if that makes sense. He gives his most eccentric performance since Face Off. As much as I love Nicolas Cage, he does have moments where he goes too over the top. It's to the point that sometimes he's even unintentionally funny. And that's not good. You never want that. Especially when you're trying to be scary.
Make me! And save me!
One thing's for sure, though. No one else, aside from, like, Johnny Depp, would be brave enough to be so experimental with the role. So, overall, I suggest going in as blind as possible. Don't watch the previews. Just go watch it. There's many reasons. It's terrifically terrifying, but it's not for everybody. Mainly because there's violence toward women and children. So this is your trigger warning. Beyond that, the directing, editing, cinematography, sound design, and acting are superbly orchestrated
to keep the looming creepy factor strongly, symphonically structured. How these talented actors can remember their lines and deliver them with such precision and emotion is remarkable to me. The perplexing mystery leaves room for consideration for what the outcome could be before the big reveal happens, without spoon-feeding it to the audience.
I hate that. That's fantastic script writing and execution.
I sense heavy influence from 90s crime thrillers. This flick is very reminiscent of Silence of the Lambs, The Bone Collector, Seven, and even more recent things like Barbarian, When Evil Lurks, and Sinister.
So I highly recommend Miss if you like those. Now let's talk about that ending, shall we? Okay, so I do have a few questions. Why wasn't the doll aspect introduced sooner? It's so jarring the way it's handled. If Agent Lee is psychic, why doesn't she perceive that her mom is evil sooner? Why doesn't Agent Lee stop Agent Carter from killing his wife? Instead, she just sits there for reasons.
My biggest issue with this movie is the title. Why is it called Long Legs? Who knows? It's never explained.
It seems I wore my long legs today.
What the hell is that?
So, my official grade for Long Legs is an extra large popcorn.
Hail Satan.
Wait a minute. There is not a single spider in Long Legs. Daddy, I love wordplay, so I play with words. Ho ho ho.
I have
Oddity.
As I've always believed, there's nothing that can't be explained.
Now, this might be controversial, but I don't care. Holy crap. Is this movie ever scary? I haven't felt this scared during a movie since I was a kid. Here's the synopsis according to Letterboxd. After the brutal murder of her twin sister, Darcy goes after those responsible, using haunted items as her tools for revenge. It was written and directed by Damian McCarthy. Come to think of it, there's been a lot of movies on my list this year that are both written and directed by the same person. It just goes to show when you have a singular vision, it makes better movies. This was filmed in Ireland, and they really utilized the gorgeous setting. The Irish landscape is like something out of a fairy tale. Having such a beautiful backdrop, while exploring such dark subject matter, gives great juxtaposition of serenity and apprehension. It starts with an intriguing idea. What if a stranger approached your door in the middle of the night to warn you?
I am telling you that there is someone in there with you.
That when you go outside, with your back to the front door, he saw someone slip inside your house. Suddenly it cuts to the woman posed with this quandary, dead on the floor. So, the question remains, did the stranger do it, or was he being truthful? And, furthermore, if he didn't do it, then who did? And why? The opening scene alone is the most gripping, fascinating introduction to an original mystery that I've seen in years. Another scene near the midpoint accomplished something I've never seen done so effectively in a horror movie. It got me with 2 jump scares in a row. Literally, one right after the other. Boom, boom! I didn't see either one coming. How did McCarthy do that? Concurrently, without ruining anything, because this is another one, the less you know the better, just go in and watch it. The final shot of the film is flawlessly executed. A cursed object is introduced in the beginning, and the payoff is astoundingly satisfying. The callback is a look at what's in store for the future. Pun intended, but I digress. Fun fact, the mannequin is inspired by the golem from Jewish folklore. Carolyn Bracken plays Darcy. She deserves awards for her performance. She has dual roles as the identical twins. She's Danny from the beginning of the movie, the murder victim, and Darcy, the blind psychic striving to solve this case for closure. It's a clever way to have her in the entire film, so I'm glad that decision was made. It's such a captivating performance. So, overall, it masterfully balances cinematography, plot, dialogue, and gore because of the sophisticated and suspenseful paranormal story that goes in interesting, unexpected directions. This is one of those movies that isn't that heavy on the gore, but it makes it all the more impactful, kind of like what I described before. And when it happens, it's shocking, especially when it comes down to who it happens to. But again, this is one of the movies I actually don't want to spoil for you, like Long Legs. Just go in blind. The profundity of Darla's emotional journey is punctuated by the way it's written, directed, and acted. What McCarthy does is the most arduous task achievable for filmmakers. He sets up a conventional mystery, keeps it consistently atypical by looking at cliches from a new perspective, and logically solves a mystery with a satisfying answer. It's independent horror cinema at its finest. This is one of the scariest movies I've ever seen. Where Longlegs is genuinely disturbing, this flick is absolutely frightening. Again, I haven't felt this scared watching a movie since I was a kid. And that's a great feeling to have. It's similar to Ghost, The Sixth Sense, Session 9, The Autopsy of Jane Doe, The Night House, and Hereditary. So, I highly recommend this if you like those. However, I can't overstate how I made these comparisons by merely combining different attributes from different films. This is a truly unique, original work of fiction. Like its namesake, the film itself is indeed an oddity. You could say, there's a method to McCarthy's madness, and a madness to his methods. So, my official grade for oddity is an extra large popcorn.
Why do you want it?
He took my sister's life. I want to see what was going through his mind.
All I know is, if I had Zigolum, I would kill more. Just saying. That is the only thing owed to me. Ho ho ho.
And now, my number one pick. Best horror of 2024. Drum roll, please. Alien Romulus. Does your face need a hug? Then I've got the flick for you.
What do you mean there's something in the water? I don't know, there's just something in the fucking water!
Here's the synopsis according to Letterboxd. While scavenging the deep ends of a derelict space station, a group of young colonizers comes face to face with the most terrifying life form in the universe. It was directed by Fede Alvarez and written by Fede Alvarez and Rodo Segui. Sorry if I butchered that. So, this requel takes place in between the first two Alien movies. And oh my god, they did it. They captured the atmosphere, they captured the fear, they captured that claustrophobia, they captured what it's like to be lost out in deep space all by yourself. Isolation. There's so many good things going for this movie. Not just all the classic callbacks to the original movies. You could easily watch the first Alien movie, this one, and then part 2, and it would seamlessly blend in. That's how well it fits into everything. And then you can continue the other ones, and it would totally just work. Some people don't like that kind of thing, when a movie uses it too much, but I love all the references that it makes to all the other movies. It makes so many references.
Get away from her. You bitch.
Not just the movies. It also references the game, Alien Isolation. Fede Alvarez also did the Evil Dead remake, and he does a great job here. He's a very good choice when it comes to building immensely claustrophobic atmospheric tension. The set designs are charming, and I can't overstate how important it is to use real sets, built by people. Sure, they use CGI when they have to, but for the most part, it's done practically. I really admire that. The extent of how intricately detailed the sets are is extraordinary. They're reminiscent of the original film, which gives them a familiar yet new space station for the main characters to explore. I would have loved to have walked around these sets during the production. That would have been awesome. They're so vast, and there's so many set pieces, you could just get lost in it. Which I'm sure the actors did. And it's not just how the sets look. It's how Alvarez uses the environment that pushes the fear factor through the roof. For example, there's staples that people expect from these flicks, like the eggs, the facehuggers, the acid blood, the chest bursters, and the full-grown xenomorphs. The ways they're included are ingenious. The practical effects makeup for the gore is spectacularly crafted for maximum effectiveness, for truly captivating gross-out moments. There's a scene where the girl's looking at her chest through an x-ray machine, and she can see the chest burster before it comes out. It's awesome the way they stage it. And this movie gets gross. In a good way, in a good way. I love that. Kind of like The Substance. And I can't get over how much fun this movie is. Another thing that uses in a new way is the facehuggers. They've never been so scary. However, the plot is riddled with more holes than what acid blood can cause in the hull of your starship. For example, how did the black goo end up onto the Romulus space station exactly? There's no explanation. Kaylee Spaney really outdoes herself as Rain. She carries the film with her emotional depth and range. You feel what she feels through facial expressions with little to no dialogue. Don't get me wrong, she does talk in this film a wild amount. However, it's not always necessary. They really let her acting do the work, if that makes sense. And the same goes with David Johnson as Andy. So, while it's not the perfect organism, I loved it. This is my third favorite Alien movie in the franchise now. That's how good it is. For context's sake, I have fond memories of watching the original 4 Alien movies with my older siblings. I consider the first 2 Alien films quintessential cinema because of how influential they've been to pop culture. This flick is made for lifelong fans and newcomers alike, because it's a standalone story, and it opens the door to the Alien universe. Therefore, it would pique curiosity to people new to the franchise. Kind of like how Scream 5 did it. Those familiar will enjoy the references. Praise is deserved for the film's direction, set designs, and writing, especially in how it looks and feels like a new movie, but is still compatible with the tech from the older movies from the 70s and the 80s. The ships practically look identical to how they used to. I love that. This film is focused on creating a tangible, immersive, claustrophobic experience, contrary to the heavy CGI reliance to modern cinema. The striking visuals set the tone for the gory terrors afoot. It touches on themes of social classes, corporate greed, paranoia, fear of the unknown, isolation, and the desolation of impoverishment in third world countries. The beauty of sci-fi is tackling topical social commentary in a more palatable experience than, let's say, a history lesson or a lecture. So if you like movies like Star Wars Rogue One, Jurassic World, Halloween, Scream 5, and Prey, I highly recommend this. This flick is the Alien sequel I've been waiting for a long time. A long, long time. You could say in a galaxy far away. But that's the wrong franchise. Moving on. Not since Alien Resurrection has a movie been this good in the franchise. You could say. It really shows you that sometimes the scariest things come from within. So, my official grade for Alien Romulus is an extra, extra, extra large popcorn. With an extra large alien on the side.
So, what do you think, Oyster? Would I win in a fight against a xenomorph? You must be joking, baby kitty. Go ahead, say the line. What are you talking about? You know. Yet, I don't know. All I know is a xenomorph. Verprasio. Ho ho ho. If you cannot defeat me, then you cannot defeat Sam. Bring it on. Oh, look at the time. The show's over. We got to go. Come on. I think not, Big D. You said it. Oh, that line. Okay. Ho ho ho. Victory is mine. Yeah. Now, where's that xenomorph? Here, Xeno.
So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. My list of the best horror movies of 2024.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Do you agree with my list? Leave comments below and we can talk about it. What was your favorite horror movie of 2024? And remember, if you're a cinemaniac like me, make sure you like and subscribe down below. So, until next time. I'll see you at the movies. Have a great day. Did you know that I'm a film critic for HorrorBuzz.com? You can read my reviews on their website, and I make frequent appearances on their YouTube channel, HorrorBuzz Live. So I'll leave links below for that too.
Did you hear about the claustrophobic astronaut? He needed space.
I'm begging you, you got to stop.
I just